Welcome to the Swift Half, your weekly session of chat from the UK OCR and adventure running scene. Each week, pub landlord Alan and our favourite regular Ian discuss races, runners and anything else that comes to mind. So pull up a pew, pour yourself a drink and join us for the Swift Half.
Ian, my friend, welcome to the Swift Half again. How are you?
I'm good. You get more entertaining doing those intros every single week. The listener doesn't realise you just gave me full jazz hands then.
Yeah, I'm actually playing with some lead, so I need to put that down and stop playing with the lead. But yeah, I was giving you full jazz hands then. I was giving the whole works and everything else. It's because you're in the pub early, Ian. We don't normally by now I'm 3-4 drinks into it, but you've caught me as I've come home from work and I'm straight in the pub.
That's true, because I finished my workout early. I got lucky with the traffic. I got to the gym earlier, so I finished my workout earlier, so I'm in the pub earlier.
I'm liking it. Ian. I've actually finished work and I've been to Aldi tonight. So Aldi, one of my favourite shops to go shopping at, because I go away again tomorrow, just to let you know. I know I haven't booked it with you, but HR passed it, so I'm going.
How long are you going for?
Just for a long weekend. I come back on Monday. So,
Okay.
yeah. But I'm working. I'm working, though, because I am doing some recording with Will. Will, don't forget, I'm going to hit you up because on Sunday morning we're recording.
Yeah, it's the Beast thing, isn't it? No, you mentioned it. You did mention it when we had the Beast guy on, Beast Darrow. You know, I might just have that in his name now.
Beast Daryl.
Yeah, Beast Darrow was on the show, and you mentioned it, and I had to kind of keep my morning early on my morning free on the Sunday, just in case you got no signal.
Yeah, so you still need to keep it free because until I get up there on Friday, I don't know if it's going to work or not. So first thing is to test it on Friday.
What time is the race?
10 a.m., I believe.
Okay, that's fine. Rugby is on at 3 p.m. So any listeners who are going to UK OCR series, get a move on because past around 1 o'clock, you won't get coverage.
I like that. Let me tell you a story about Aldi anyway, because this is pretty good, this. I'm now going to start to go to Aldi between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock because the shop assistant have told me that is when they put the stickers on all the food. So do you ever get the 30% off or the 50% off stickers?
Yeah, the Whoop stickers.
Yeah. So they get them. It only goes on between 2 and 3 o'clock in Aldi every day. So I went in there about 2:45, I want to say, and there was loads of stuff. I got chicken, kebabs, fish, everything. So yeah, I'm going away in the caravan this week, and it's not going to cost me naught for food because I've got all the food from Aldi.
You've got all the food with short date going in the caravan with a potentially not great fridge because you've not tested it yet. Oh, goody, you're going to have food poisoning come Sunday.
Oh no, I've put it all in the freezer straight away, so it's in the freezer at home. So yeah, the fridge works. I've had the fridge working because I've had the caravan plugged into the electrics on my drive, so I know it all works. The fridge, the freezer, it all works. So yeah, I'm confident the freezer will keep it nice and cool. Take it out the day before, defrost it, boom, I'm away I go.
So are you going to enjoy the fact that the caravan you're taking now is a little bit smaller than the beast you used to have?
No, it's a little bit bigger than the beast I used to have.
Is it bigger?
It's about 1.5 meters longer. So it feels much, much bigger, but it's about 1.5 meters longer.
The idea of getting rid of the beast was to downsize.
Well, that didn't work. That really didn't work. But I am on the lookout for another caravan. So if any of our listeners have got a little caravan that they don't want, a little two-berth thing, seating at the front, little toilet, kitchen at the back, hit me up. I'm looking to spend as little as possible. And it doesn't need to be in a great state. So I'm looking for something really old that I can do up purely and utterly for when me and the boys go to ultra runs and we can park it up in a lay-by. I'm going to put some solar panels on roof. Boom, there we go. Mobile bed on wheels.
Right, you're from Yorkshire. The tagline, I want to pay as little as possible, is kind of redundant.
Okay, you're quite right, but just put it out there. I'm thinking like 200 quid. I reckon I can pick some up for 200 quid.
I reckon you can. I don't know how much caravan costs now, but yeah, by all means. And if there's any sponsors out there who want to, I don't know, become the official UK OCR caravan sponsor, then get in touch.
That would be quite cool. People send me stickers to put on my caravan. So, like if it's got any damaged stuff, I can just put stickers over to hide it, can't I?
Is that why the old beast had a lot of stickers on?
It's funny you should say that. Yes. I once, were you ever around when he had the bus? Did you ever see the bus?
I don't think I saw the bus.
So I had a big black single-decker bus at one point, and that was sponsored by Nuclear Racers, Dry Robe, Kit Bricks, Ram Run. They all paid, I think it was £50 to have big, massive signs put on them. Yeah, that was quite good, that.
It's really cool. And that's a trip down memory lane. And we're going to circle back to that later on because there's something on the notes I want to chat about. But before that, and before I ask you what you're drinking, we'll do that in a second. As you know, last weekend, I was fortunate enough to survive another year, which,
yes. Happy birthday.
Yeah, it's getting harder and harder. Let's be honest. And as the years go by, 24 is a rough year, Alan. It really is. I've only had it for a week now, and 24, I'm not too sure. But I had a question for you, and this is probably also a question for the audience. Birthday messages. How do you send them? Facebook post, DM, or text/WhatsApp?
I can't say this. Because so I tend to do a lot of mine through Facebook posts. So if it's someone I know it's Facebook post, if you're really, really close to me, I DM you.
Oh, I got both, I think, from you. What does
I
that
think you
mean?
did,
You're
yeah,
hedging your
yeah.
bets.
Yeah, I'm hedging my bets there, yeah. No, but if it's family or really close friends, and when I say close friends, it's like literally I want to say 10 people. That I would probably send a WhatsApp or a DM to, but everyone else, yeah, happy birthday on social.
See, I'm either a DMer or a text/WhatsApper, but I'm also very bad at it. So, I will send a text or DM to people, but if I don't send it for your birthday, it's literally because I'm really, really bad at keeping up to date. And what happens is Facebook will tell me it's someone's birthday. I'll put it in my brain and think, oh, got to DM them later, and then completely forget about it. And I think that's why so many people go the post route, because Facebook kind of makes you do the post.
Yeah, but well, Facebook reminds me, but I'm opposite to you, so it reminds me, and that's instantly when I then go into my DMs and send the message, whether it be WhatsApp or DM, one way or another. But I send the personal message the moment I see it on Facebook. So if I would be like you, I would see it on Facebook, say, "Oh, I'll send it later," and then not send it.
I wonder if I can mess with my Facebook settings, because the reason I don't send it straight away is it usually tells me when I'm up at about 5 a.m. And I don't want to be texting anyone at 5 a.m. to say happy birthday, because that comes off as stalkerish.
I think there's a little button in there when you go into your homepage. You can go on birthdays and it tells you whose birthday it is or something like that. But then you've got to remind yourself to go in every day at a certain time.
Yeah, that's way too much work. Second question to this. You obviously get a lot of birthday messages on your Facebook.
Yeah.
I get one or two. How do you respond? Are you a go into each one comment? Are you a liker, or are you a one post on your wall thanking everyone for wishing you a happy birthday?
I'm a liker.
You're a liker.
Yeah, I click the like button, or if someone puts something really funny, I might actually respond to it. So if I see someone puts, something a little bit different than happy birthday, I might actually respond to it. But yeah, I like everyone. I tend to do that on everything I do, is just click on the like button on everything.
I kind of wish I'd done that, because I loved absolutely everyone who took time to post on the wall. I really appreciated it. But Alan, I forgot that I was generating additional work. So as I was going through writing a little comment, suddenly my notifications was blowing up, because anyone who I'd commented on had then gone on and started to talk back to me or had liked it. So I created myself a never-ending cycle of messages, which I loved. I had nothing else to do. It was bank holiday Monday when I was doing this, so it was great doing it. But I'll think in the future, and I'll time it right. Maybe I comment when I wake up at 5 a.m. because then no one else is there.
That's probably a good idea. So, Ian, we've got a guest with us today. Yeah. So, Matt B. Davis, welcome to the UKOCR Swift Half podcast.
Welcome to the Swift Half podcast with Pub Lord Alan. How does it go?
Pub landlord Alan and the regular Ian.
Is that the one that I paid for, by the way? Is that the one that I wrote, or is that the other one?
No, that's the one you paid for, yes. I think it was. Didn't you do both of them for us?
Well, I think initially I had, and we did the great, I want to say it's God Save the Queen, but it's not. It's the Here Comes the Queen music.
Yeah.
What do you call that? That great, like, sort of build up. And then the lady says the words, and I'm glad you're still using it. Sounds great. Well worth the $5 I paid for it. Probably a $10 I paid. I mean, when you add the fees and whatnot, or to get it within 24 hours, you pay the extra $5.
Right.
It's probably worked out at about 10 cents a play now, Matt. We've used it that often when you think about it.
Well, it's how many years? 3, 5?
3 years?
3 years?
What episode is this, Alan? 100 and something or other?
Oh, out of both podcasts, we're over 500 episodes now.
Well, I got to be honest. I don't listen as closely as I used to. Like most people out there, the podcast feed got a lot fuller, right? With all the categories that we may or may not listen to, true crime or news or sports or fantasy football. But UKOCR has, I think, 45 shows. There's Who's Hot, there's Who's Scott, there's Kids, there's Adaptive, there's Animal Husbandry now, I think, category. Like, how many podcasts are you going to launch, Ian? What are you doing over there?
It's not me. It's Alan. I only have this show where I'm a guest in UKHXR. It's Alan wanting to do as little hosting as possible.
Well, congratulations. You now have
Delegation.
fucking shows.
Delegation is the key.
What's that?
Was that Roy Castle used to sing dedication? Well, we have delegation. Was it dedication is the key as well? It was on Guinness World Records. There was a theme song, wasn't there? Well, we have delegation is the key.
Well, Alan, I've just actually checked. This is the 184th episode of the Swift Half. We've just put out the 70th Who's Hot, which is mind-blowing to me, given how much we pay him.
Right.
Yeah. They're still doing it. That's great, yeah. I actually dreamt the other day that Will handed his notice in.
Oh, God. Should we be putting that idea in his head?
No, I don't think we should. Maybe there's something there.
Let's end that there. You can edit it out. Alan, what are you drinking?
Well, I'm on a Brooklyn zero alcohol Pilsner lager today, which is it's quite good. I'm still staying with the zero alcohol. I broke it this weekend. I had 1 can of alcohol, only the one. But yeah, I think I'm now to about 2 months where I haven't really had a proper drink, which is good for me.
Which is excellent for you. And again, with it being a school night, I am on a soft drink, a soda, as Matt would know. I'm on Pepsi Max, would you believe, Alan? But it's caffeine free.
What's the max for?
Oh, do you not have Pepsi Max in the US?
I don't think so. I drink very little Pepsi as a rule, as it is anyway. Here in Atlanta, we drink a lot of Coca-Cola products, but I haven't even heard of Pepsi Max. I feel like. Stacey, have you heard of Pepsi Max? She said, sounds like a maxi pad.
Well, do you have Coke Zero in Atlanta?
Yes.
Yeah, Pepsi Max is the version of Coke Zero that Pepsi has over here, although it's been here a lot longer, I guess.
Giles Chater, big fan of Coke Zero, because I asked him what he would like in the morning. I said, I stop by, Dunkin', would you like coffee? And he said, no, I would love a Coke Zero. So I would stop by the gas station and bring him donuts and Coke Zero in the morning at WTM.
Oh, that's super cool. I don't think we had Coke Zero for many, many years, but of course you're in the home of Coca-Cola, so you probably had it for a long time. You also have Coca-Cola Classic, I think. We don't have that.
I think we still serve that. I'm not sure. We don't drink a lot of soda in this house, as you would probably guess.
I once read something that the Coca-Cola factory actually washes the engines of their trucks in Coca-Cola.
You can do that. Exactly. Just spray it right on there.
And it cleans all the grime and the grease off and things like that.
Absolutely. Fact.
Now everyone's running out for cans of Coke to pour on their engines. Not for me. Matt, what are you drinking?
I am drinking very on brand medium iced coffee from Dunkin' with no sugar and oat milk.
Ooh. Does it?
And it's actually
What's
been
it
sitting
taste
a
like?
while, so this is a bit of the watery bit. I may refill in a moment with some home iced coffee. Actually, I bet my lovely wife would bring me some. Hey, lovely wife, would you bring me some iced coffee?
Do you drink a lot of coffee? Do you like the caffeine in coffee?
Yes.
Have you tried caffeine NutriBullets?
So I ate one once, I think. I don't know if I put it up my bum as a suppository. I was not sure. No. I think I had it once. He sent me a bunch and I honestly don't remember. And now it's been a while since I've done ultras. So um there's actually, you know what's funny? I meant to tell him. I knew there was a reason I reached out to him. One of his one of his marketing people emailed me and said, "Hello, Matt. Would you like to try the new whatever new thing they have?" And I was like, I couldn't tell if they just sort of found me in a list of obstacle content or running content, or he said reach out to Matt, but I still haven't received it yet because people send me all sorts of things all the time. I don't know if that's happened to you guys yet. I assume it has.
Well, this is what I'm talking about because NutriBullets have just messaged me to send me some. So I guess we're on a list. We must be on a list somewhere.
Right.
We
I've
made
got
the list.
Well, our Ian and I talk quite frequently offline, and we're doing a lot of this hybrid stuff, and there's a new hybrid podcast every other week. I don't know, are there still OCR podcasts popping up over there?
Don't think there is. Not popping up. There's not. There's a few. So we've got Accountability Corner. So that was the latest one. We've got Megan Tranter's Dirty.
That's who I thought you
OCR.
were going to get, by the way. Megan is who I thought you were going to get for the show because she was there and hearing about all the stuff.
Yeah. No, I haven't reached out to Megan because from aware she's still over there. So that's why I've not reached out to her. But I have got some information about the world champs, which I've been told and that behind. But we'll come to that in a second.
Okay.
One final thing before we move on about podcasts. Matt, Deadly Dozen. Do you remember the race that you and Dave? Sorry, Dave, for a second there. You and Dave broke down this week's weekly show. You're chatting about it, or whatever you call it now, hybrid hour. I totally meant to message you after the event. They served cold brew. They served actual cold brew at their event. Jen had some cold brew. She said it was the best coffee she's ever had.
Well, they're after my own heart. I thought you were going to say that he launched a podcast, which he did. Oh, I meant the ice. Is there any of the iced coffee left? Just hot from this morning? Okay. Well, then you have to put some more ice in it then, though. That's the only thing.
I love the podcast with Matt because it's real. This is so real life. And this won't get edited out. This is stopping in.
Well, so we have that
live.
Stoke. It's called Stoke. It's one of the iced coffee brands,
Yeah.
If that came out of the fridge, you could have just gone in me cup because it has a little ice in it. But she's bringing me warm coffee. Sorry, busy coffee. It's called way more coffee than Stoke. She said, but since she's actually pouring in the leftovers from this morning's coffee and turning that in iced coffee. Then I need more ice. But I do want to give a quick shout out to Resolute, who has been a sponsor in the past. Huge fans of Resolute. Don't currently sponsor my show, but they do still send me coffee, and I'm a huge fan. Resolute Coffee Co. That guy.
Oh gosh.
I love that.
Should we move on to some OCR content?
Yeah, let's go. Let's move on to a little bit of OCR. I'm sure things will come back to off track shortly. But World Champs, Matt, I want to get you on because World Champs has gone off this weekend.
Well, you need to specify. We have many world champs in our sport. You need to specify.
Okay, so the OCR World Championships.
Hang on, say hello. Say hello to the wife.
Hi, wife.
Hey, Stacey, you okay?
How are you guys?
We're good. We're good.
We're awesome. We're awesome, Stacey. I can't believe he's making you get him coffee.
I know. Isn't he horrible? He makes me do
nice.
everything. No, he's good. He does a lot for me. Besides, fart, be loud.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Oh,
So-
that's good.
We're talking about the OCR World Championships that is run by World Obstacle. So let's talk about this one.
ISO.
Yes, that happened this weekend over in Costa Rica, San Jose, and that in Costa Rica. Lots happened over there.
Quite a bit.
Over there.
Quite a bit,
Well,
yes.
First of all, an influencer pops up and doubles the attendance.
More
What's
than
that about?
doubles. More than doubles. Yeah. Some YouTuber who I guess has been, from what I could gather, did some sort of push up or pull up challenge for himself or his listeners. And, you know, these guys with millions of followers, they just post, I'm going here, and the kids show up. You know, they can literally stop traffic and cause massive issues wherever they go. And, you know, I don't, I don't even think like I'm not even mad at them. You know what I mean? If you're really popular and you want to do something cool for your audience and kind of give them a treat, you know, it's a fine line because yes, you know, thousands will show up. There's this famous one, Fousey Tube, that showed up once and like almost caused a riot. And turns out he had all kinds of mental health problems. People that follow the YouTube people will know what I'm talking about. Anyhow, he showed up. He did some sort of YouTube pull-up challenge, and it's unclear how much quote unquote damage was done. I mean, I think first sort of rumors and reports were like they destroyed the course, but I don't think that's what happened. I think they only in that one area and only on a couple of those obstacles. I guess my question would be, because I was trying to think if this could happen at a Spartan or if this could happen at Adventure, like was this just literally in the middle of a country where you could just jump on? Whereas if it was at like Tahoe or one of those places you'd have to drive in, or that was just my only question, was that did they held it in a location that made it vulnerable to that? That was kind of the only point where I think the race company could have been held responsible.
I think from my understanding, anyone could go to it because it was held at a football stroke running track stadium. So, you know, it was a public domain. So
but let's say the Tough Mudder that we did together, right?
Yeah.
If enough people descended on that location, they could have bum rushed the Tough Mudder reg tables, right? That's kind of what I was trying to think. Like it could kind of happen anywhere. It's not just their fault, quote unquote. I guess that's what I was trying to think.
Do you think it did OCR good? I from my opinion, I saw it. No, I know what you're saying. I've heard rumors that, you know, the damage the course slightly and that. I haven't seen no evidence of that. But to have that amount of people rock up to an OCR event and get OCR publicity, that's got to be half good. Any publicity is good in my eyes.
I mean, I guess I would say that in a perfect world, maybe some of those kids there would be like, actually, I like doing that. Is there a place I can go do that? Just kind of plants it in their mind. But from my understanding, not a big OCR scene in Central America, specifically that country. So there kind of is no next step. And I think that was part of the, you know, much longer conversation about political posturing in the first place. As soon as it was decided, if you recall, I got on the phone with a guy that I know in South America that does Spartans in Mexico, who said, there's nothing on. Oh, no, it wasn't Mexico. It was, do you remember who I talked to? Maybe it was Brazil.
I remember.
Brazil?
I want to say it was Central America. It may have been Brazil.
Early on,
he
was like, hey, Matt, like I put on races and it's really hard and there's not a lot of infrastructure. And I don't know how much we want to get into this, but that was kind of my question, was Ian's promise of why it wouldn't bankrupt the local org was because this country would put money behind it. So I don't know how much Costa Rican government or Costa Rican, you know, athletic department, I don't know what they put in. I have no idea what infrastructure they put in. I have no idea how much money they spent. We know at least we don't know, but at least we're pretty sure that that's not, like last year, the Belgian guys were like, you fucked us. You know what I mean? You told us you were going to give us this money. You didn't. And now we're screwed. Now, a lot's on them for not getting it in writing, et cetera, but that's what happened. I don't think that's happened this time. So infrastructure wise, that's one of the questions I asked my guest the other day. He said it was run pretty well. It's the rule stuff.
What about obstacles then? So you say it's run pretty well. Now, from what I'm hearing, they promised 30 obstacles on the standard course. However, only 20 of them were open. That tells me the infrastructure there wasn't there. Have you heard that rumor? Well, it's not a rumor. It's a fact. So,
well, I saw a post. I saw somebody post, do I want to travel all the way over there and have this happen? I think that people forget how much goes into putting on a good event. Mm-hmm. We show up to a Tough Mudder or a Spartan or a, you know, name a popular brand over there that people really like, and they just think, well, this is what happens. You show up and there's registration and there's porta potties and there's the event and there's volunteers and there's the finish medal and so much goes into it. And, they've given themselves this great excuse, which is every year they turn over the staff to the new country. And they're like, well, it's only our first time doing this. So what do you expect? You know what I mean? And that's not a good thing. There certainly should be a core team of people that sort of hold the hand of the local org. But because it's so small and they're all volunteers, that's not happening. The only constant is clearly Ian Adamson and maybe a couple of other people. I don't know. And I think, we've talked a lot about I don't get the details are that important to them. What's important to Ian is, getting his picture in the paper and writing about how great they are and how they're getting to the Olympics and how everybody loves this sport and the millions are going to do it. And then the race comes and goes. And it's like, I think the biggest thing, guys, is the people who want this race to happen, James Burton, all the people from the UK that go over and, want to have a great time and represent their country, the Americans that I know, Ian Hosick and a bunch of these guys, and the Dutch guys and Leon, they want it to work so much that they will look past almost anything. They really want to go. They want to be at a world championship. They want OCR to grow. And so they're like, oh, this isn't so great, but who cares? We have it. And that's not enough for me to support an event. But that's apparently what I think will happen year in, year out with some improvements and some steps back. I want to know, Ian K., if you agree with that, because that's what I think.
It's an interesting point you just raised there, Matt. It's like the event will happen due to the sheer will of the diehards to get it to happen. They will find a way to make it work. And we often don't talk about wrestling on this show, but it is almost a case of an independent wrestling promotion, which again will survive, or 30 or 40 people wrestling, or for non-wrestling fans, a small theatre production. So you've got a bunch of people in, is it a theatre circle, Alan? I can't remember what it's called, but whatever it's called. But they will put on a show year after year after year. They'll get like 20 people there, but because they want it to happen, it'll happen. And Matt makes a great point there. I don't want that for the pinnacle of our sport. I want it to attract people who are not just there for a YouTuber. It's actually kind of embarrassing that the most action we saw was when a YouTuber came and brought a flash mob. And honestly, do we even know? I don't know who this YouTuber is. Do we even know if he knew what was happening, or did he just see a rig and just wandered over? Does anyone know that?
That's a good question.
I hit Google Translate when he was talking, and he was in the video, and he basically was saying, I'm so excited. I didn't ever think we'd get this, or when I started this challenge, like, I don't know is the short answer. I did a little bit of research, but not enough. And if anybody did, let Ian know and he'll let us know. But even what you said about kind of the barn raising aspect of let's just all get together and put on a show. Like, I think that's great when it comes to like a local OCR, but for a international sport, especially when the guys at the top are constantly peacocking about what great work they're doing and then deliver a shit product. And, I'm sure what we're going to get to, inserting yourself into the chain of command on rules and on, what's the word? Protests. Well, now you've completely illegitimized your event. That every time an event happens, you have multiple people on the same podium place. Like, should that happen once every 10 years? Maybe, right? Some extreme circumstance, but it's de rigueur for these guys because he wants to, from what I understand, it's because they either want to keep a host country happy, or in this case, keep Nicole Miracle happy, who is a large name. That's what I can tell.
Yeah, let's talk about what's happened. I mean, some of our listeners may or may not know. So we're talking about the female elite race here, and we'll go into a bit more detail. But basically,
I'd like to hear your version because I want to know if it's different than what I've heard and kind of go from there.
Okay, so from my version is that Ulrika won. The results were there. Ulrika won, Nicole second, Elisa third, and then a certain, I don't know who got involved and what was said. But it was then changed that all three were given gold medals. And the reason why it was said that all three were given gold medals, from my understanding, is that Nicole said that her race was ruined because Ulrika informed Nicole to avoid some walls, and they both avoided walls. But Nicole, throughout the rest of the race, thought she was going to be disqualified. And Alicia's actually put a post out on her Instagram to this effect as well, that Nicole told her during the race. She thought, I'm going to get disqualified. So after the race, Ian Adamson or someone high up decided, let's give all three of them a gold medal. And then the race directors stepped in and said, no, that's not the case. The results stand. Ulrika first, Nicole second, Elisa third. That is what I'm hearing. And the reason why they missed the obstacles, from my understanding, is so I'm going on Elisa's post here. She was leading the race 3K into it. There was 3 walls. She went over the first 3 walls. As she went over the 3rd wall, that is when Ulrika and Nicole passed her, and they were avoiding the obstacle because they'd been told, Ulrika been read or told at the beginning of the race that if there wasn't a marshal on an obstacle, then you didn't have to do it. And there wasn't a marshal on these walls.
Correct.
Is that about right? Yeah.
Yeah. I think here's what I find interesting about that. Nicole thought she was going to be disqualified. Okay.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? She didn't race as hard. So why race at all? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what that means. I thought I was going to be disqualified. Okay. Well, you either like really want to try your best regardless, or you quit, but you just run for fun. And I thought I was going to be, because that's what that sounds like to me. That's why I didn't win. Right.
Yeah.
So you have to back up. Okay. And Ian and I have talked about this already once, or a little bit over the weekend, and some obstacles weren't open. Okay. Were you in charge, Alan Moore? Were you in charge of a race and your building manager said, hey, a couple of these obstacles we're not going to be able to open before we sell the women off? What would you do, Alan?
The course,
so the people would know not to.
Well, I'd tell them that they were closed. But in my opinion, because I've actually had this at one of my races, so my followers know that I put an obstacle course race on. If an obstacle is closed for whatever reason, we tape the obstacle off and we move the race tape to the side, so it's clearly defined. You don't go around that tape. But in the same instance, I don't have obstacles without a marshal on. So even if an obstacle is
all
closed,
you needed to say was what you said.
Okay,
because that's the right answer. And the reason I know it's the right answer is because I've had this conversation with 7 people and they all said the same thing. No one said, I don't know what you could do to maybe, everyone's like, oh, put tape over it. Right? Like that's simple. Send a gator out. We call them gators, side by side, someone on a fucking vehicle, and go tape those obstacles off. Marshal, no marshal, pretty fucking simple solution to a very simple problem. Now you also announce it. So when they don't show up, they're as confused. Why is there tape there? Like, hey, there's going to be some obstacles that are closed. Take them off. So that's number 1. That's not year 1. We're a new race. We don't know what we're doing. Like, that's everybody I've talked to knows that. My kids would know that, right? Like, so massive failure. Okay. Not a small one. Like, what are we going to do to make sure this is correct? Well, tape off the fucking obstacle. It's such a basic race director thing that I don't know how that didn't happen. So now here we go. So Alyssa and one other woman are in front of, and I forget who the other woman was. Ulrika told me, but that woman ended up finishing somewhere in the top 10, maybe in the top 5 even. But it was Alyssa.
Was it Siri England? Was it Siri England?
Yes, it was Siri. It was Siri. Yeah. Thank you. Ulrika gets to those obstacles, says to Nicole, I don't think we're supposed to do those obstacles. And they skip them, right? Now the rest of the race happens, right? Ulrika passes everybody. Nicole passes everybody except Ulrika. 1, 2, 3. There you go, right? You know what? Like hour later, like it's not like it was right after this the race was over. And I also want to add that when she started telling me the story, Ulrika, about the controversy, she said, well, there were some obstacles that were closed. And like in my mind, I thought she was going to say some really hard rig that took a long time. And it's like, it was a couple of walls early into the race. Like, this is what we're deciding. So Nicole and Alyssa have a course of action to take, right?
Yeah.
It's called the protest period. And you go and do that, right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if Alyssa did or not. I've heard conflicting stories. Nicole definitely did not. Nicole said she didn't. Our country manager, Alwyn, said he didn't. Okay.
Yeah.
Did not happen. So somewhere in there, either because Nicole approached Ian Adamson or Ian Adamson saw Nicole walking around upset and approached her. Now here's where Ian Adamson gets involved, right?
Yeah.
As the head of all of it, right? Not the race director, not the technical head of the technical officials, not the country manager, like all these different levels that could have and should have gotten involved way before Ian. Ian gets them together and says, hey, why don't we just give you all a gold? And Nicole and Alyssa go, great idea. And poor Ulrika goes, okay, I guess. And they take the stupid photo and now that exists in the world, right?
Yeah.
So I get on the phone with all these people. I'm trying to find out the answer. And I am told by Ulrika that she spoke to the race organizers and they said, we will be speaking to the delegates and they're all going to be told that we are going back to normal. Okay.
Okay.
So I believe her. Okay. Then Nicole and Alyssa both say, we were never told that. And Alyssa goes on to say, I didn't even know it was changed back till I saw your post. So I believe all of them. Do you see what I'm saying? They're all most likely telling the truth. So what does that tell you? That even if we point at Big Bad Ian for stepping in and doing something he shouldn't have done, now there's another place where they should have handled it, where they were like, hey, we're going to tell the delegates, and nobody told the delegates. Or they're all fucking lying to me. They're either all telling the truth or they're all lying. And in this case, I think so. There's no matter how you slice it, I don't think you change the award. It's definitely possible to say we fucked up and we had athletes do something that other athletes didn't, whether it's one wall or one balance beam. Everyone should be doing the same course. So yeah, we fucked that up and it looks like we weren't clear on that, but not enough to change the results. Alyssa lost by over, a minute or whatever it was, and Nicole and Ulrika both skipped the same thing. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you go down the line, I think the race ended the way it was supposed to race, and there's some things to look at. Now, had Alyssa passed them both, and it was we didn't have to do that it might have gotten trickier. Anyway, I'm very emotional about this. I've talked to a lot of people. And I honestly wasn't sure I was going to come on here and do this, but I feel like it is worth it for people to hear because you and I are repeating the exact same story and you and I have not talked at all, right?
Yeah.
So it's at the end of the day, it's a shame because, I feel like I talked to Ulrika first and she was obviously upset that this is her crowning achievement. She's double podiumed, double gold the weekend.
Yeah.
She's not Nicole or Lindsay. Like she's not someone who's been looked at. And here she has this day of days and it's shit on, regardless of whether you ever, what can they ever do? Because somebody still shared that picture. I posted the results and said, the race director said, here's the results. And somebody's like, well, here's a picture. You can't argue with this picture, right?
It's true. Do you think World Obstacle and FISO are burying their head along with the organisers of this? Because we're talking about it. We're talking it days after it's happened. If we're talking about it, other people are talking about it.
Find me the results anywhere on World Obstacle. Find me the results. They don't post a thing all weekend. Not on stories, not on the feed, not on Facebook. They post some sizzle reels, which you expect. But hey, here's a picture of our winners. Here's an age group winner from the 3K. Anything. I still can't find the 100-meter results. And this is what makes me so mad about Ian Adamson spends the rest of the year when they're not putting on events, spinning around like a fucking peacock. Aren't we amazing? And it's like, then it comes to put on the event and it's like, who won your event? No idea. Are you like, if I didn't exist, right? And Megan didn't exist, like nobody, and you didn't exist, like no one would know. It would just be the athletes talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they wouldn't be taken seriously, yet at every turn they pull this bullshit. They bury their heads and, everyone's like, it's going to be better next year. Sweden's going to be better because the Sweden's not going to put up with this. And I've heard that twice or from two different people, how Sweden isn't going to put up with Ian's bullshit, quote unquote. But am I going to be surprised when it happens again? I thought you guys were going to put up with Ian's bullshit. I know, but he did X, Y, and Z, and there's nothing we can do about it, and we hope we fix it next year in Cornwall or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, I've talked for
Cornwall
10
would be
minutes straight.
awesome.
What do you think? I want to know what Ian K thinks because me and Ian have talked about it a lot now.
Well, here's a pop quiz for you, Alan. Who won the male 15K? Do you have any clue?
I think I do. I'm going to say Jesse De Gea, but that's only because I looked at the results on Sunday. So I'm going off my memory when I looked on Sunday. So I'm going to say, did Jesse De Gea win?
I have no clue because I've just gone on the results tab that we got sent. I can't find results. You
Okay.
click on results and I cannot find them. Maybe it's because I'm on a phone or something, but as Matt alluded to there,
The only results are on Athlinks that Jack Bauer found and sent me. Okay. And it's pronounced Yesa. The J is silent. Come on.
Oh, sorry.
What are you,
Yes, sir.
kind of a heathen. Yes.
You're having Ethan. Yeah, you're right. Everyone knows that over here.
I'm actually looking at Athlinks on the same link and the results aren't up for the short course.
That's the thing. It's very tricky. If you type in anything like if you search Costa Rica or search OCR World Championships, you'll find a lot of links that go nowhere. You've got to go in the exact links. So let me send it to you.
So I just actually got them up.
Have you got them up?
Yeah.
Right. The point I was trying to make is exactly the same point Matt made was we've had how many different events? We had the 100 meters, we have the short course, we have the 15K, we have the relay, which we'll come to in a second, although admittedly we've gone a little bit longer already on this part. And honestly, all people are going to remember is a situation where Nicole looked sad on the podium. They offered everyone a gold medal. Everyone walked off with a gold medal, and then it got turned around. Honestly, World of Scott, I don't know if you listen to this show at all. Do damage control. Do something. Or get out of the way and let someone else do it.
And that is the point I was trying to make. It would be a simple press release to everyone, and we would be absolutely fine. We would know exactly what everything was, the reasons why, as long as that press release was factual and honest.
Well, and that's the problem too, is that I couldn't get a hold of anyone. And I even messaged Giles, who's probably not thrilled about it, but I know he has some influence sometimes because he's involved to some extent because Spartan are involved. And, when they finally wrote me back, Morrow was nice enough to write me back. And he says, I can't even speak as World Obstacle. I can only speak as the race director. And I didn't get your email because we're out there busy doing the course. And I'm like, right. So guess what else? Guess what part of putting on a World Championship event is? Having a comms team that fucking operates during the weekend because comms need to happen. Things change. Sometimes we've moved a race up an hour or whatever it is. But hey, we're busy. We couldn't get you any information is not really a good example and a good answer. But he said, yes, the answer, those never changed. If a race director tells me I'm in charge of the race, it never changed. I'm going with that. Now, Nicole and Alyssa, if they want, can say, well, I have a gold medal in my hand that you physically cannot take away from me. And there's a photo that says I'm first. So that's what I'm going to go by. And can you really argue with them?
You can't argue with them, but it still doesn't feel right, does it?
It feels horrible.
Right.
Fucking awful, mate.
Should we step towards putting a button on this or see
Let's not put any fucking buttons. I'm just getting riled up.
I'm saying you can stay riled up. Let's talk about the relay because I have no clue what happened with this one. I was just getting to the end of the whole Nicole, Alyssa.
Right. Well, here's the problem. What happened? Here's the problem with the relay and the problem with what's been established. Okay, we talk about how in Spartan and now DECA, video replay is dangerous, and so if you're going to look at video replay, it has to only be the official feed of the race. Otherwise, you have moms, dads, boyfriends running up with, look what I have. Look what this other guy did that my person didn't do, or vice versa. And that's exactly what we have with this race. And it's not just my mom, it's my dad, it's my girlfriend, it's my country. So everybody who's rooting for the Swedish people, right? are going to show you one thing, but look at my video. I have this on this person where you weren't there. That's clearly what's happening because they all keep saying we have video evidence. I have video evidence of this person yelling at an official. I have video evidence of this person touching the bell. Like that's what everyone is talking about. And they're apparently using it all. Like they're taking it all in as part of their decisions. So they, and again, we heard this in the previous Euros where things happen backdoor or behind closed doors and awards are changed or officials have issues with this specific person. It's all shady. It's all crappy. It honestly, like, it's worse than Spartan. We talk about how Spartan does some weird arbitrary penalties. This is somehow worse. What do you think, Ian?
I'm still trying to get my head around it. So basically, am I right in thinking that someone got DQ'd and then they didn't get DQ'd because, I don't know, someone rushed out? We're going back to wrestling analogies here, but the second referee rushed out to the first referee and said, look at this video. They clearly did what they didn't, what you
but
said
this
they
other
didn't
team
do,
will
or...
get a penalty. The disc team will be a penalty and we'll swap first and second. But the third and fourth place teams, apparently, again, according to the Americans, who are probably telling the truth, we were told we were third place. Race director's like, nope, that never happened. They were always fourth place. So again, they probably were, because somewhere in this mix is horrible communication and either people deliberately doing the wrong thing, or maybe they thought they were empowered to say, yes, you'll be awarded a penalty or reward. Like, it's just a mess that, again, you could see happening with all the moving parts. You could see happening. You know, the Olympics have controversy. The Olympics have judges in different countries. Like, you can see it happening, but not to this shit show level. You know what I mean? Just not to this, like, real, like, if there was a czar of obstacle racing, right? For example, let's say it was me. Let's say it was me and Ian K, and they're like, we're going to bring these problems to you. I think we would come up with pretty logical solutions to most of these things. But with them, yeah, it's do it and then bury your head and do no comms. Now, you can bet your ass that you're going to read a PR piece in the next couple days that's like, we had 2,000 athletes from 60 countries, an amazing event. We brought this much money into the economy. You're going to read all that because that's all they fucking care about. And again, I know all races do that. All races do that PR business. Hyrox does that. Spartan does that. But the proof's in the pudding, guys. Show me Ian, show me anybody on a podcast like actually talking about what happened and why, and great, and how you're going to fix it, other than, you know, we promise we'll try to fix it next year.
I've got 2 points. First point is I really hope their comms team includes the flash mob in the attendees, because that would just be hilarious and totally on brand, and I'll get behind them because that is the most OCR thing to do ever. If they come out and say we had 15,000 people in attendance, or by 10,000 of them or 12,000 with flash mob, I would love that. Second point, Alan, this is to you. Video footage deciding anything. What's your views? My view is that it's in the rules. If the rules say we will use video footage and define what it is, great. If it doesn't say it, it doesn't matter. Even if it's been live streamed. Yeah, if you miss a rep or you miss whatever, but the referee doesn't call it, it shouldn't be overturned. Alan, what say you?
I'm very much like that. So in football for years and years and years, we didn't have VAR, or as Matt calls it, soccer, we didn't have VAR, and we abided by whatever the referee says. And this is exactly what should happen here. Now, I don't know about over there in Costa Rica, and Matt, you might know this, but did they have a head referee over in Costa Rica? Just one single person?
I'm guessing that would be a job. I'm guessing the head official or head referee exists.
Yeah, so over here in the UK, the British champs, we have a head referee. I think it was Mike Nolan this year, if I'm honest. Mike Nolan. Anyone had an appeal, it went direct to Mike, and Mike made the call. He spoke to the volunteers that were involved in it. He spoke to the athletes who was involved in it, and he made the call. And he stood up and he gave the reason why he made a call, if he made a call. And he's done that in several other races and that. And in all the UK OCR series well over here, we have a head referee who makes that call. They're not aligned to any athlete. They're not aligned to the race. They're independent to the race as well. So it's not, if it was a Spartan race, it wouldn't be a Spartan person. It would be someone who's completely dependent. I think, in my eyes, that's not what we've been communicated, or I haven't been communicated that. And I would like to be able to speak to that head referee and say to him, and I'm going to try and find out what it is actually. I'm going to send an email after this to find out what it is. Because I want to say to him, hey, tell us what happened. Give us some context on what happened, straight from the horse's mouth. Why did you make this decision? Because that's what we need to know. We as media and the public need to know this.
Well, I've been beating that drum for about a decade now. I would love for you to find out for me. I will give you the contacts I have, and I'll see if any of them write you back. And yeah, stay on them. I'm like, part of me doesn't even want to report on the World Obstacle events because this happens every year, and because it's such a shit show. It's like, why bother? They don't bother giving us the information. Why should we promote them at all? I can tell you that if you knew things were moving in the right direction, if more Americans went this year than went to the one in Europe last year, and that did not happen. You had a far less attended event by, like, OCR is pretty big in North America. Spartan's going to put a lot of people through their races, right?
Yeah.
Savages does a fair amount of people. Like, lots of people do it. So the fact that nobody over here kind of even knows about it, and certainly doesn't do it, minus a handful of people, tells you a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's sort of a massive downturn. The UK never sent as many athletes this year as they would have in previous years. Several of our top athletes didn't go. That doesn't take it away from the ones that did. And a big well done to everyone who went and did absolutely amazing. We've shared the results on our social media, so I'm not going to go through them today. You all know you are absolutely amazing. But we did see a big turn down in Sweden. Maybe we might see more athletes go from the UK because it's closer. Maybe that's the reason why we didn't see them in Costa Rica. But I also believe that because it wasn't great last year in Belgium, and then what happened afterwards, and then this year we're seeing another situation where it's not great. Will people go next year, or will we see an even bigger boycott? Time will tell.
No, I think you'll see the numbers go back up. I think you'll see a lot of Europeans go, certainly more than went over here. But yeah, it's not that I don't see the event like growing. I don't see, like,
No.
If you go back and listen to the podcast I did with Adrian, we talked about how the numbers slowly went up every year. And I don't see that happening with these guys.
Completely agree. I couldn't agree more.
I want to put a button on this and just say, tongue firmly in cheek, World Obstacle, keep doing what you're doing, because in about 5 years' time, me and Alan can get on the podium.
Yeah, there you go.
Just kidding. Right. Alan, should we step on from World Obstacle? I know we've not got a lot of other news and notes because Costa Rica was the big news and wasn't even any hybrid news this past weekend to speak of, or fitness racing news to speak of. So what else have we got on the docket?
I'll just go a few things, Ian, and then I want to ask Matt something else because it might interest in this other one. So first of all, this weekend we have got the Beast down at Body Hub. We will be streaming it live on YouTube some way, shape or form, as we mentioned earlier. Race starts at 10 o'clock.
Which race?
The Beast. It's part of the UK OCR series, which is happening.
The Beast?
The Beast, yes, at Body Hub.
Not to be confused with Spartan.
No, it's called Body Hub. Really good event, Matt. They have all the obstacles are in an arena, so they are literally like next to each other. You run up lanes and down the lanes. Only 6K in terms of, it's not really that far of a standard race, but it's going to be a great event down there. But the thing I was going to say is, Ian, Oasis. No, Matt's top topic here. Oasis are returning. But it's spoiling OCR.
They are. I put this down to 2 years ago at the Hyrox World Championship when Faisal sang Wonderwall and Neil. I don't see. I know Oasis back well. I don't even know their names. Liam and Noel. I'm guessing Neil was just an amalgamation of two names, but they could not let it stand that the most well attended version of Wonderwall in the UK was going to be Faisal's version, so they're coming back.
It wasn't just Faisal; it was that woman too.
It was, but But Faisal, if he listens, he knows we love him. And it wasn't a bad song. It was just sadly the wrong time. He's an okay singer. It just wasn't the right time for it. But they're coming back, and they're coming, of all places, this confused me. They're doing a stadium tour, except in Manchester, where they're coming to Heaton Park, which, Matt, you are probably unfamiliar with Heaton Park, but it is just a wide open space. We have a couple of festivals there. We have Park Life, but it wouldn't be the first place I think about for a Oasis gig. And all I can imagine is the Etihad, which is Manchester City Stadium, must be having some work done. Oasis would never play Old Trafford in a million years because they're City fans, true and true. Oh, before we move on, Alan, I've got a question for you.
One.
The last time Oasis played any kind of gig, Man City were terrible at football and had been terrible for 40 years. Could we get history repeating itself? Will Oasis be the reason that Man City fall from grace?
No, the reason why Man City are going to fall from grace is when the FA and UEFA decide to grow a pair and fine them loads of points for administrative and financial issues. And they won't do it at this moment in time, but that's when they'll fall from grace.
Which may correspond with this gig, which would be hilarious, to be fair. And Mark, we're sorry, we know that River loves Man City, but they've reached Man United levels, Man United in the 90s levels of
Dominant.
Well, listen, I know they play it. I know they play it Etihad because my son sings the song. He says, Holland, Holland, he's a blue just like his dad. Now he's at the Etihad. Ha 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 ha. You know that one?
Yes, that one. Anyway, completely off track, but Oasis are playing Heaton Park.
Why are you laughing at my singing? Alan is losing his mind over there. Why are you laughing so hard?
That's not the football songs I used to sing on the terraces, but I actually quite like it.
What do you sing on the terraces?
Oh no, I can't sing songs like that. Not on this podcast. This is
You can curse.
Actually,
no, just cursing us very much.
Yeah. Alan, my favorite one back in the day was actually about an American.
Go on.
It was sung at Old Trafford. It was, how did it go again? That was it. Tim Timmery, Tim Timmery, Tim Timmeroo. We've got Tim Howard, and he says, you. Because there's a word that fits in there, Matt. Tim Howard, I think he had Tourette's.
Why are you afraid to curse on this program? Is it being put up for like an award or something?
We just don't curse on this program. It's just not something we do. We never have.
We're British, Matt. The British don't curse. We speak the Queen's English at all times.
Do you know Billy Butcher?
I think he was married to Janine. Anyway, oh no, that was Ricky Butcher.
Okay. The word is cunt and twat for Billy Butcher. You watch that guy?
God. Oh God, no.
No.
Right, I'll swing it back to OCR.
Don't edit that. Leave that in there.
I don't edit anything from this.
Okay.
Swing it back to Oasis. They are causing problems with Tough Mudder, Alan and Matt, because they are playing Heaton Park in July, around about the same weekend that Tough Mudder were in Heaton Park this past year.
Okay.
So let's be honest. Unfortunately, the weekend they picked tends to be the only bit of sunlight we get in Manchester. So now I'm not sure. Will we have a Heaton Park Tough Mudder next year, Alan?
Well, it's highly unlikely to happen in July. And I also think it might very much clash with WTM.
That's true, yeah, because WTM's around about that time. It won't have a big an impact, but it's probably something to consider if someone's an Oasis fan and a Tough Mudder fan.
It is, because if you look at anyone who's really over the age of 35, we're all Oasis fans in some way, shape or form. The moment when their songs comes on, you sing to it. It's just, it's just one of them things. So I think there's going to be a lot of people wanting to go to see Oasis who are potentially in the Tough Mudder community. I really do. We look at obstacle sports racing. You have to have a certain amount of income to be able to do it. It's not a cheap sport. You've got to have that little bit of excess money. And people are going to have to make a decision. Do we go to World's Toughest Mudder or do we go to Oasis?
All right. Well, here's the schedule's already up. You've got London West, May 10th and 11th. Okay. There's also an Infinity. You've got Scotland, TBC,
Yep.
to be determined, I guess. We say TBD. World's Toughest last weekend in June. Midlands the very next week. Why don't they give us a break? Midlands the very next week in July. Then then Berlin / Brandenburg, mid-July. Manchester TBC, Yorkshire end of July. So when do they play?
It looks on. I've just checked. It is starting the week after WTM. So it starts in Cardiff on July the 4th, I want to say. So it doesn't directly clash.
Then I should stay, right?
Yeah.
If
You should stay after
wanted to.
WTM and go to Oasis.
I mean, to see Oasis in England would be kind of like legendary.
Except it's not in England, it's in Wales.
Well, you know what I mean. Somewhere in the
Yeah.
United Kingdom.
Yeah. If you can get tickets, you absolutely should stay. But yeah, 4th and 5th is in Cardiff, Wales. And then the weekend after is when they are in Manchester, July 12th, July 11th, and then July 19th, July 20th.
All right,
So
Ian,
that is
I'm going to
prime
give a
booking
shout out.
period.
I'm going to give a shout out to Will Chung, who I know wants me to come over. Will, get us tickets to see Oasis, and I will definitely stay.
Will's going to be on the phone now, ringing up every ticket tout he knows.
Those are
Can't
gonna
you
go
use
a lot. You
your
don't get them.
connections with the media over there in Atlanta and say, like Atlanta's going to fly you over there for to get you onto?
Because I have such massive reach here in Atlanta. You think?
Yeah.
I do not.
No?
I have no pull. I have no pull. No.
Yeah. Probably the same amount of pull that Will Chung will have, I think, to get Oasis tickets.
Yeah, but he can at least like stand in line, or I don't know. What do you do over there? Hop online. What do you do?
We basically all line up, get our multi-screens ready to log straight on, and then see them all sold out within 30 seconds, and then up on Ticketmaster within 5 minutes thereafter for 3 times price. Alan, sound familiar?
Yeah, they'll be straight up on these ticket people will be purchasing them through 3rd and 4th level computer programming, and yeah, you're going to see tickets going for £500-600 plus pounds.
They should bring lines back as the way to combat that, because none of us can compete. It's the same here. Like, I was going to go to some football games, your kind of football games with River, and it's like I couldn't get a fucking ticket. It's like it would say the ticket's $90, and then you click on it, it's like, oh, but that's only $300 with fees, and it's like, oh, fuck yourself. You know what I mean? On these sites, so
yeah, they should bring back.
I haven't got 300 quid lying around.
They should bring back queuing. I'm completely with that. Last question before we go, Matt. Trifecta, Spartan trifecta, leaving Sparta. What's your thoughts on this one?
I never thought we'd see the day, especially since being buried in Greece came along with purchasing one of those NFTs. So it'll be interesting to see how the numbers improve or not, because I think this is one of those destination races that actually worked. Spartan loves to hold some kind of championship somewhere, and what they do is they approach a city and say, hey, give us money, right? So we can hold our championship in your city. Like, that's why the world champs was in Tahoe, right? They got a certain check from Tahoe. And when it moved to Abu Dhabi, they got money from Abu Dhabi, and then they held the North American champs in Tahoe and still got a check from Tahoe, right? Same thing with Mammoth, right? I think Morzine probably gave them a check. But it doesn't always work, right? Because the numbers don't. There was a famous one when they did the first American 24-hour ultra championship was in Telluride, really expensive town. They had like 300 finishers, so it didn't work, right? Nobody wanted to fly there, hard to fly, expensive to travel to. But because Greece, you have the whole Sparta tie-in, it was really working. People really liked it. Was like an annual event for all the trifecta chasers, and let's go to Greece and do this thing. So I think it actually worked. But I can also see how they're like, can we improve the numbers even more if we move it to America? So apparently they're doing it every other year. Like, they've already said 26 back in Greece. So West Virginia, famous venue. We've had North American champs there before. They clearly have a nice setup at the Summit Bechtel Boy Scout camp, and we'll see how it goes.
So are they copying Iron Man then? In Iron Man, no, Half the time it is in Corner, the other half I think it's in Nice, and they kind of flip it each year. But I think we're always in Corner. They just kind of flip whether it's the female athletes or the male athletes, odds and evens.
Yeah, I mean, again, I guess I don't harm them for trying. I went to that event in Greece in 2019. I thought it was super cool. Like I said, I feel like it's the one kind of what do you call it? Destination race where it kind of worked. It's not just the event itself, like WTM moves every year, right? It was like, or every few, and this one's like, hey, Greece, the world champs, Sparta, go by the statue. So have you gone? Have either of you gone to Greece anytime?
I
Not
have
to the
still
champs.
never done it. No, I've still never done a Spartan race. This is almost like a running meme on this show. I've still not done a Spartan race. I've got Deca medals, but
Wait a
yeah,
minute,
I've
wait a minute, wait a
never,
minute. You have yet to do a Spartan race?
never ever, because I booked on several, but they've either been cancelled or
You and
something's
the
happened.
intern haven't just shown up and run a sprint together?
They're hard to get to in the UK. We have Graham is sure to correct me, but don't we have like 2.5 a year, Alan? It doesn't feel like we get a lot of Spartans in the UK.
We don't now. We don't get as many now as what we used to. I know when, and so I've only ever done the trifecta in the UK. I've literally done one. I've done 2 sprints. I've done 1 super. And I've done 1 beast. It's never been something that interests me because I don't like repetition. I like different things, and Spartan for me has always been repetition, and that's what's not attracted me to Spartan.
I just didn't know you hadn't done one at all.
I've been booked on a couple. I was meant to do stadium or whatever you call it in Twickenham a few years ago. That got cancelled due to low numbers. I think I was meant to do the second Manchester one, Alan, which got cancelled. I've attended one. I went to the Champs a couple of years ago, got some media there, and it was fun. It's just the stars have never aligned, and yeah, maybe one day I'll do a Spartan. Heck, who knows? Maybe I go to Sparta, Greece in 2026.
Yeah, I thought that would be pretty good. That would be good if we had a big holiday. We could have a UK OCR holiday in Sparta, Greece.
That sounds awesome. Although, could we not have a UK OCR holiday? I don't know, in Atlanta or Orlando, somewhere. Mauritius. That works. Sorry, Matt. I was trying to get us close, but Mauritius. I'll go with Mauritius. Oh God, we'll need a lot more Patreon money before we get anywhere near that. And I should clarify, that's a joke. We don't spend the Patreon money on trips anywhere. It is used to improve the show.
Definitely. Before we all go, I had a quick chat with B, who did the 3 peaks this last week. I know, Matt, you haven't met me, B would. You and B would, Matt, would absolutely hit it off, because she speaks very much like you. She speaks her mind, and she's not afraid to throw in the odd profanity in there. In fact, if you listen to the next part of it, you'll hear that she throws in quite a few profanities at me when she tells me to F off several times.
Okay.
But yeah. So stay listening, listeners. You'll get that very shortly.
B Wood attempt to Guinness World Record. You did. How are you, first of all?
Still a bit heartbroken, if I'm honest. Yeah, it's been tough. I'm not going to lie. It's been tough because it's the first thing I've ever done that I haven't finished. And because getting me around anything is such a team effort, it's not just, it's more than just me that it's affected.
I was watching it closely because I had messaged and said, well, not messaged you, but I told a few people I was coming up to Scaffold on and so my plan was to try and meet you at Scaffold, walk a little bit of Scaffold with you, and that just give you a bit of a boost. I wasn't going to intervene with anything. I was going to help and stuff like that. So I was watching closely on social media, and the weather wasn't great to start with. So you set off at like a really stupid o'clock up Ben Nevis. I mean, attempting Ben Nevis at night time is like crazy.
I mean, in my head, I've got the most most fantastic team.
Yep.
Wherever I am, yes, my team members change, but I've effectively got a team of 30 plus people, I would say, are in Team B. Then every event, members of those 30 will be there to help me. Now, there's obviously your core people like Muddermum, who's Shell. She's never not been there when I've done anything. And we've got certain members that are always there, or nearly always there, and some that are there once, twice a year, for an event or whatever, and that's fine. That's great. But I've learned over time to literally put my complete and utter faith and trust in them. That's with my body. Like, literally, if they say we're going to carry you, I trust them not to drop me. It's with big drops. If they're about to throw me off something attached to a rope, I trust that they've done that climbing not right. I trust that they've clipped my harness up right, and I just put my faith in them and just do it because I trust them that much. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot to do that.
Yep.
So when we said we're setting off at midnight up Nevis, it didn't bother me. It didn't bother me one bit. It didn't faze me because we've got head torches. We've got experienced people. When I've got Martin by my side, who's a paramedic. I've got Uncle Am, who is a rock climber, an engineer. Your team is made of so many different skills from different people. You've always got someone right for the job, no matter what the problem. That is, unless you snap your trike in half. There wasn't much coming back from that.
Tell me what happened on the trike, mate. What happened? Because I've seen this trike. I've had to go in this trike. This is like a right piece of kit. It's sturdy as they come. It's designed for mountain biking and off-road use and that. You're going up Ben Nevis. What are you, about 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers into it?
2.5.
2.5 kilometers into it.
We set off. If anyone wants to look at my Instagram, there's a funny video there of how we went over some rocks. I'm saying, what's the foot plate? What's the foot plate? It's scraping. We get up to this step about, must have been 7-8 inches high, if not more. And I was just like, the trike, this trike is not going. Am I going up that? No, this trike, we need to. And as I say, we need to. They just pulled me up. I was like, there we go. And so I was like, it is going up. We just found ways around everything. But mountain trikes, it's the company name. Yes, they are tough. They are very tippy, as you know. They're on 3 wheels, which isn't ideal for 3 wheels. Is great for maneuverability, but it's not great for stability. But the more stable something is, the less maneuverable it is. So there's got to be a line. Because they're designed to be independent they've got their own independent steering, which has to be 3 wheels to get the turning circle. They've got suspension on every wheel. They are fantastic bits of kit, but they're not really designed for mountains. They're designed for rambling around the countryside, going around a reservoir, that sort of thing. Yeah. They're designed to be used on more challenging terrain than a standard wheelchair can do, but they're not really designed for extremes. They're not designed for Tough Mudder. The number of times mountain trike have told me, you're going to struggle in a mountain trike at Tough Mudder. Well, I do struggle in it at Tough Mudder because it's tipping over left, right and centre. I'm always snapping steering cables because they're just not designed to be under that pressure. But saying that, they are quite capable for what they are. We set off about 2 a.m. Auntie Charlie drove me up. She was a hero looking after me because my needs out of a pit crew are very niche, if you like.
Yeah.
When we stopped at services to get me into my gear, the last services there, she's having to change my socks and my leggings and stuff with me because the changing places was shut. Someone able-bodied can just stand under a dry robe and do it. I can't, so I had to have help. I go very food avoidant. I don't want to be too open about it, but I have slight eating disorder problems. So she was there knowing how to talk to me to get nutrition in me before I went, not scaring me, putting me off or making me worse. So we got up there. It was raining. We got the chair rigged up. We got me in my harness and waterproofed up. We got all the bags sorted. We got the lights sorted. And then we did the video for Guinness World Records, which I don't think I'll ever put out there because it's just heartbreaking that we did all that for it to end so quickly. And we set off. We got to the base, got up there, and I thought, this is rocky. Rocky, really rocky. Something else. Then there was the gullies. The gullies, man, the Rocky Mountain with water running through these gullies. We're talking 12-inch deep gullies, probably 7-8 inch wide, that able-bodied just walk over, step over. But my chair had to go over them. So the front wheels would go in. They would then pull me out and lift the back end up to get the rear wheel over, lift it over.
Yeah.
And we were going good. And the more we went, the more we all got used to how the chair was responding to the unevenness. the more we all got used to the rocks and the terrain. We all got used to how we're going to stop for a break because, you know, you're going uphill, you're going up 4,500 foot in 5 and a bit miles. It's quite upright. We all got used to going up so far. When the team was getting tired, needed to swap, I'd hit the disc brakes. I'd hold the trike on my brakes while they all swap round. I'd then say, right, you know, my hand can't squeeze much longer. Can you take the weight for a bit? We'll go in really strong, really strong.
Mm-hmm.
I was going strong because it was a lot of work on me pushing them levers because pulling on the ropes wasn't enough. The wheels had to be driven as well to get me through some of it. And we were doing really, really good. And then we got to this really, I guess, rocky bit. We went over a rock, not thinking about it, and we just heard this almighty crack, and it didn't sound good. I felt the back end of the chair lower a little bit, and Martin just looked down, and he's like, back end snapped off. And I'm like, what? I was expecting a puncture. We had spare inner tubes. I was expecting steering cables to snap. Well, the steering was knackered after 5 minutes, to be honest. It didn't stand a chance. But yeah, the back end just sheared off in a wanna. Just boom, lost the back wheel.
And it's a proper shear off, isn't it, as well? And I've seen the pictures of it. The actual metal, the steel that it's done is completely broken in two. And the wheels, it looks like the wheels rolling down the hill, you know, or it's in some gully somewhere.
It literally just snapped clean off. And then came the problem of, right, not only is this whole thing over, but how do we get me back down?
And that was going to be my next question, because you're 2.5 kilometers into it. How long did it take you to get to this point in time-wise to get up the hill?
About just under 2 hours.
So 2 hours into it,
yeah,
you've now got to get back down. Yeah, sometimes say going down's easy, but now you've got to go back down without a back wheel on.
Yeah.
So you're on 2 wheels.
Yeah.
And it's dark. It's night. It's not the greatest terrain. This must have been hair-raising.
It was brutal because the team had 18-ish stone of me plus the trike to hold up all the way down and control the descent.
Wow.
So every bump, they couldn't control the drop. So if we were going down a drop that they'd lifted me up, say 12, 14 inch high, I was dropping that far, literally dropping. And what that did to my lower spine, the pain was unreal. Yes, the trike's got suspension, but it's not designed for, number one, it's meant to be designed spread out on 3 air suspension things, not 2. And it's not designed to be dropped like that. The suspension is for bumps. It's not designed for those big drops.
Yes.
And every time we went down a bump, I could feel it shooting up my spine. Even with the cushions on the trike, I've bruised my tailbone. My backside looks like it's been hit by a sledgehammer. It was painful. It was horrendous. They kept having to have a break, but they will put the trike down. I was nearly laid on my back because, of course, the back end just sank. And I had all that pressure on my back, and I was like in agony. And they tried to then rest the back end of the trike on a rock when we had a break, which was more comfortable. But we were doing all that while I had a broken heart, while I was disappointed. The guilt I felt, and I still now, a team have said it's not your fault, it's mechanical failure. That's not on any of us. But I had this amazing team, all from around the country, going all the way up to Scotland to get me round that, putting their all into it, getting all the nutrition, the food, the gear, putting their emotional energy into it, trying to fundraise for my new wheelchair through it. They put their heart and soul into it, and it all ended just like that. And I still feel guilty now, which I shouldn't, but you can't help natural emotion, you know. I'm gutted I didn't just get to one peak at least. And yeah, just getting down was horrendous. And Martin said, right, I've messaged Charlie. I've got hold of her. She was meant to be sleeping in my car. She drove me, and she came down to meet us. She drove around to meet us at the closest point to make it easier. We got to the bottom, obviously, safely, which was amazing. Before we did set off, I had a picture of my progress flag, because I said at every peak, I want a picture with a progress flag, a pride flag at the top, say we're doing this with pride, but we never got there. So I had a picture with my flag before we came down saying, right, at least it might have been short, but at least I did it with pride. We came down to the bottom and we had a bit of a chat. I just went non-verbal and I couldn't think, I couldn't speak. It was awful. And Charlie was amazing looking after me. And then Shell said, right, we're going to go up again. We're going to go do the peak while we're here. So Mike, not Mike Mussard, he was looking after them. Mike, he does Europes and Worlds and stuff. Is a machine. Mike was there. Shell, and my head's going blank.
Martin.
Name my team. No, Martin stayed down. It'll come to me. I'll go through the team anyway in a minute. But they went up and they did get up to the peak, and they took my flag up with them.
Cool.
So at least it got up there.
It got up there. Are you going to have another attempt? Is the planning already in place for another attempt?
Yeah.
Yes. I like that.
We've got a more steady plan. So what we're going to do is next year we're going to do Snowdon on its own.
Okay.
The year after we're going to do Scaffold Pike on its own. Year 3, Nevis on its own, and then year 4, all 3 of them in Awana. So then we've got a really good idea about how each mountain responds to a chair, how we need to go about it. Also, we need a bigger team. A team of 6 was not big enough to take that on. We started off with a lot more, but we had a few drop out, which happens at any event just because of life. But I think really we need a team of 10 or 12 at least, because the team needs to swap round and have a rest. Also, as you get to the top of Nevis, the air gets thinner and people get shorter of breath. So we need a bigger team. It has been done in a trike. Mary early this year did all 3 peaks in a mountain trike. It has been done. She had to be on Facebook this morning, so I'm going to have a chat to her about how they did it. I do know off her team that the trike wasn't suitable for what they did, and they were repairing it every 5 minutes. It was too extreme for it, but it has been done. So it's proved that it's possible to be done.
Yeah.
It's just doing it. I'm definitely not going to use a trike again for it. Shell's got a friend who is a fabricator who's looking to make me a chair just for 3 peaks. It wouldn't be any good for Tough Mud or anything. It'd be too extreme. But that, or maybe if we hit 5,000 on the GoFundMe, then I might look at seeing if that's suitable for the peaks. I mean, it's being designed for TM though, for OCR. But this has kind of knackered up my race season as well.
Because we've now got no trike for the rest of the year.
I can get the trike fixed. That's not an issue.
Right.
It's my confidence in it.
Okay.
My confidence in the trike has fallen because now I've experienced it dropping, it breaking. I never want to feel that again. I'll go around in my e-trike for volunteering and stuff, but they're made differently. They're made stronger because of the electric. But next year, I've got my Worlds ticket. If they do bring out an ETM, I'm doing Holy Grail. Simple.
Yeah.
My team has said, even if it's at Henley and it's impossible to get a wheelchair around, we will get round 2 laps. Whatever, we are going to do whatever we can do. We're going after that 25-mile adaptive bib at Worlds, but I can't see any of it happening unless I've got a chair to do it in, because it's mentally damaged my confidence in how much we push a trike through.
I get that. It's going to be tough, but you're going to do it. We're going to get you there. Everyone's going to get you there. Everyone's on your side to get you there. Give a quick shout out to your team before I let you go, because as people don't know, but this is our lunch break. We're both on our lunch here. Lunch and chatting in the Swift half. So give it a quick shout out to your team.
So Charlie Parvin, Anti-Charlie, was my pit crew and driver. We had Mike Mussard looking after some of the others. We had other Mike, who his last name's gone out of my head. I can't remember it, but Mike, he's a legend. He's a mudder. We had Shell Carney, Mudder Mum. We had Uncle Am, who's Am. We had Jeff Buck. We had Uncle Keith, Keith Jones. Hang on, Mudder Mum, Keith.
Martin, you missed
Jeff.
Martin off there.
We had Uncle Gomez. Of course we did. He put the thing together. Gomez, yeah. And why is my mind going blank? Feel under pressure. I don't want to miss anyone off. There was 6. Shell, Martin, Jeff, Mike.
Charlie
was on the floor. Mike was on the floor. Oh, I feel really guilty. Who am I missing? I'm missing someone.
Maybe this is a quiz question for our listeners. Who has been missed off? This is today's quiz question on the Swift app.
So we are quite lucky, B, because I have got a full list of everyone that went. Michelle Carney, Aimer Hafiz, Jeff Buck, Mike Walker, Martin Gemmell, Keith Jones, and then of course you had Charlie as your pit crew and your driver, and Mike was also a driver and helped everyone else out. It's Mike Mussard. What an amazing team you had there.
B, thank you for coming on and joining us in the Swift half and everything else, and it's been a pleasure, and you take care, you stay safe, and we will see you on a course at some point. You'll get your confidence back, I know you will.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Alan. Thank you for letting me, do things in my own words. And more than anything, thank you to you and Ian. And thank you to everybody through the Swift Half, through UKOCR, through the mud community, through Tough Mudder and British Obstacle Sports that keeps the faith in me and keeps supporting me, because I have got big dreams. I do want to keep pushing. I'm not do an OCR and I'm done, do this OCR and I'm done. This is my future. So I really appreciate each and every single one of the people that get behind me and believe in me. I will be back with a vengeance. I'm volleying at Birmingham, volleying at London South, and somehow going to run Northwest. So thank you. It means a lot.
And then, Ian, have we got anything else on the notes?
No, I think there's a couple of things on there that will move forward. I think some things have now dropped off that we chatted about, which we were meant to put on. But yeah, there was a couple of things on there that will move forward to next week, but nothing as important as what happened this week in Costa Rica. So on that, Alan, should I say it's a goodbye from me?
You can, and I'm going to leave it to Matt to finish the show off. Goodbye, listeners. Matt, over to you.
See you later.